Hey everybody, and welcome back to Nellie and Ruth Designs. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for commenting, and thanks for watching along. Today I'm going to start a new little series, and it will be a playlist all unto itself. It's going to be called Practice What You Preach. And we're always telling ourselves and others, use what you have, use what you have, use what's free. I did a video prior to this little series here I'm going to do on what you have in your home, what you have in your craft room, what you can pick up when you're out and about, anything you can grab that's free to use to make something. So in the video where I talked about free things you can use, I showed you this little book here. And this was made, I made this probably, I don't know, 15 years ago. It still sits empty. I was going to put photos in this, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But at any rate, this is made out of drinking coasters. And I thought it would be fun to show you how simple this little book is to make. And I thought we could make a little ephemera holder. So what I did, I'm going to set this aside. What I did was, I'll put this right here. I typed out everything you're going to need. So we're calling this drinking coaster ephemera holder. And you could make it into a little photo holder. I'm going to make pockets in here. This I made to put little pictures in. You can make it however you want. You can use it for whatever you want, and you can use it however you want. But what you're going to need are 7. I made this one here. We're going to use 7 drinking coasters, measuring 4 by 4. And these are just a cork style. I say press board, not really cork, but a press board style coaster. So in this one here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right, with 3 interior. I picked 7. I wanted it to be a little bit larger. So we're going to have a back cover, a front cover, and then we'll have 2, 4, 5 inside. So you'll have 10 sides. All right. And I like to do everything in odd numbers. I don't like working with even numbers. So get either 5, 7, 9 drinking coasters. I'm making this one out of 7. It would be nice if you had scrapbooking paper that measured 12 by 12, because you won't need a lot. And the way we're going to cut it, you could probably use 8.5 by 11 paper as well. You're just going to need more of it. Grab yourself some ribbon or Sari silk. I have some ribbon on this. This one I may use some Sari silk. You're going to need a Tyvek envelope. That's another example I used in my freebies. Everybody gets a Tyvek envelope in the mail. You know, we get the large ones. This is what I cut mine from. This was a, 9 by 11, 9 by 12. Tyvek. Like I said, my accountant sends me paperwork all the time, and I keep these because these are really good to have on hand, and they are free. You'll need a glue stick, double-sided tape, or your liquid glue. So I don't care what you do. Here's your glue stick. Everybody knows what double-sided tape is. Or you could use either a liquid glue if you want to use your Fabri-Tac, or you want to use your art glitter glue. It doesn't matter. Whatever you like working with. And then I went ahead and cut everything ahead of time. So I'll go over that with you in just a minute. But the paper that I chose comes out of this pad here. It's the We Are Memory Keepers, and I think you can buy these at Michael's. They used to have stacks and stacks and stacks of these papers for $5. I don't know if they do anymore. It's been a long time since I've been to Michael's. But I really like this pack. It's just earthy. The colors are pretty. It's kind of muted. So I wanted to keep mine kind of natural, and I usually will pick papers for a project like this that I really don't want to scrapbook with. I'm still a scrapbooker with family photos, so I try to keep the papers in here that I want to put in my scrapbook. So you'll need one 12 by 12. You'll need more 12 by 12 paper, but you'll need 12 by 12 paper. And then these are, this is what I have left over. And I think your leftovers, actually, if I'm not mistaken, after you cut, and I'll show you how to cut it 4 by 4. So you could actually get a couple books out of this if you wanted to. I mean, you could use these as a front and back cover. You've got these here. So there really isn't anything to cutting the paper as long as you, let me show you here. I'm just going to take, I don't like stripes, but I'm not going to cut it, but I'm just going to show you. So if you have your 12 by 12, and I just cut all of mine ahead of time, just to save time. The 12 by 12, I think, works out the best, and that's how I was taught to use it. So you're going to cut, and again, I'm not going to cut this, I'm just going to show you. You're going to cut for your front and back cover. You're going to need 2 pieces, and these stand on their own. You're going to need 2 pieces of 4 by 4 inch papers. So you can take whatever you want, cut a strip 4 by 4 on your 12 by 12. And then you're going to want to round the corners. When I round my corners, I use my We Are Memory Keepers, and I use the 1/4 of an inch. All right. So, and that seems to fit my coaster well. You're just going to have to look to see what kind of coasters you have, and then go from there. You could always trace around it, and then the corner, and then cut. But use your cutting machine, your cutting tool, to make the precise 4 by 4 cuts. Then your inside papers, you're going to need 6 pieces of 8-inch long by 4-inch wide. So you're going to want to take your 12 by 12 paper, and what I do is I cut it 4, and then after I have my strip of 4, I turn it, and then I cut it 8 inches long. All right. So you'll need 6 pieces of 8-inch long by 4-inch wide. And then for the binding, right here on the end, all right, you're going to want to cut, and you can just use one of your 4-inch pieces that you have left over. That's what I did, because you've already got your 4-inch height, and you're just going to want to make it 2 3/4 inches wide by your 4 inches tall. Okay. And I will put these in my description, but if you want to just take a screenshot of all of this, but I can put the measurements in my description as well. All right. So I went ahead and I cut my front and back cover. All right. And then these are the 8-inch by 4-inch strips. And don't forget to round your corners. I just round mine when they're already folded in half. All right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you're just going to take your coasters, and this is so easy to make, and you're just going to put your coasters in like this to make sure you have, your papers the way you want them. And it's just every other. And your back cover. And then you have your book all put together. All right. And then all we're going to do is glue it. So I just didn't want to take the time to cut all of these here. And then this is our, this is the binding. I picked the orange, and I did not score this because I want this to be flexible. So I just kind of fit it on. I'll fit it on like this. All right. So this is what it's going to look like when we have it all glued down. This little piece of Tyvek I'm going to put on here because it will help to not wear this down. The other thing you can do, if you want to take it one step further, you can put little pieces of Tyvek on here. And that, again, will hold it together. And maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll add them. So I would have to get those cut. So for right now, I have to decide what I want to glue my paper down with. Now, if I use my art glitter glue, it adheres pretty quickly. I won't be able to move it around. So maybe I'll use my Fabri-Tac. And I do want to get these distressed before I glue them down. So I'll do that. And I'm going to do the, I'm going to do these as well. I just want to take that white part off the ends. And this is a fun little project to make. Very easy if you want to make a nice little Christmas gift for your son or daughter-in-law, grandchild. It doesn't take any time at all to whip one of these out. But I got thinking, after I did that last video, I got thinking about, a lot of people show what they use for their free, you know, their window envelopes and all the free stuff that they get. But I don't know if anybody, I haven't looked, I'm sure they have, how they use it. And I just thought it would be a fun little series to show how I use my bags and things like that. And I just thought it would be cute to call it Practice What You Preach. And this is a little bit heavier. It's not a real heavy cardstock, but it's not a lightweight scrapbook paper either. And you're going to want something that's, you know, a little bit heavier just because of the coasters. And I am going to watch my time today. Usually I don't, but I am going to go for a hike. with my daughter-in-law. I started running again, and we hiked last weekend, so I got the bug. And it is we're having that humid weather. Yesterday I went for a run, and I have to run up past a swamp, and I was worried about bugs, and they weren't too bad. The mosquitoes weren't too awfully bad, but it's the deer flies now. So even though it's hot and it is a sunny day, I'm going to be covered up in lightweight clothes. And like I said, it never fails. I'll start a video and the phone will ring. I have my cell phone on Do Not Disturb, so... Okay, so let me get these... Oh, let me get this organized, or distressed as well. And organized. And I think what I will do is maybe I'll get this glued down onto the Tyvek first, and then that can sit. That can sit, and I think the original one I made, I used double-sided tape. On most of it. I don't know if I really did use any glue. But you're going to want to cut your Tyvek a little bit bigger, and then that way you can trim around it, because I want to make sure that it gets right to each side. That's the other thing I should do too. I did talk about using a credit card for flattening things out, making sure things are down well. So I might as well use that. I might as well practice what I preach. Okay. All right, so I'm going to let this set right here. I'm going to let that dry. And I'm going to get these organized again because I want to put the drink on the top. I think it just fits my paper better, believe it or not. Make sure they're all, and these do not have to be perfect when you put them together. Sometimes you will have a little overlap on the bottom, but I don't care about that. It doesn't matter to me. All right, so I'm going to put the covers on last, but I'm going to put these on. I'll put these down first. So you can see why I didn't want to cut all the paper and do everything in this one video, because we have to glue all these down. And just make sure that you get, I just want to make sure I get enough glue on here, so if I have to move it a little bit, I can. just going to do it like that. And then I'll get the other one on there. And then this one I'll put actually on this side. So then I can just slide that coaster on there. And that's all we're going to do today, is just make sure that these are glued on properly. And it is nice when you use your liquid glue like this, you can, and you put enough on, you can move it around a little bit to make sure it's on there properly. So I'm going to do that one. And then this will go on this one. So you just basically go back and forth with these. And these little books are nice. Like I said, if you want to make a gift for someone, you don't have to worry about making a fancy binding like they do with a junk journal. I know a lot of people, I was very intimidated in making something like that when I first started to make a journal. And if you don't have the time or the patience, this just makes a very cute little book. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. We shouldn't even have that word in our vocabulary. Perfect. There is no such thing. The only thing that's perfect is God. That's the only perfection that I know of. We all have to stop beating ourselves up to try to be perfect, because perfection doesn't exist. Only in what God created. I know you're going to say, well, God created man. No, I'm talking about nature. Okay. So again, see, if you use the liquid glue, it gives you time to get your pages settled. I will tell you, the art glitter glue dries very fast. You may not want to use that unless you're very good at working quickly. So you're just building like a like bricks and blocks. And you will see that I'm not putting down the Tyvek on these. I think it'll be, my other one, like I said, is so old. I think they hold up well, but if you want to secure it, if you're going to give it to a child, you know, these would make great little, if you're a story writer, if you're a grandma who loves to tell stories, you could make a little storybook for your grandchild. Then I may reinforce it, because kids can be pretty rough on books. Or you can do a picture book. I mean, how cute would it be to make a really cute little picture book, if they like Bambi or Dumbo and they're too little to read the story. You could find an old copy of a little golden book, and you could actually cut the pictures out and just put pictures of all the little animals in here. So many ways you could use this book, or this little piece. But I'm going to put pockets in it. And put some ephemera in here. And then once this glues, I'm going to bug out of here, because this is going to have to dry. And then in the next video, we can do some embellishing on the back before we add our pockets. You know, maybe some pretty birds, flowers. I have a lot of vintage patterns I've been going through, because I really have to get rid of some of them. I do have some in my Etsy shop that are completely, they're all complete and ready for anyone who sews or is a collector. And I have some of my own that I'll be cutting up. And it would be nice to make little collages on here and then just put a pocket on the front. You could use this book for, you know, gratitude, what you're thankful for. Just way too many ideas, really cute ideas. So I hope where you are, that tropical storm is hitting. It's wreaking havoc up along the East Coast, and I hope that you're all safe. Because my heart goes out to anybody that gets hit with those storms, and then you lose power, there's massive flooding. It's not much fun. That's the one thing I do like where I live. I'm in the mountains, high in the mountains, and the mountains break up the storms. We don't have flooding, only in some of the lower areas in the winter when things get, the ice breaks. And, you know, the ice leaves the river, and then the ice chunks go up on the lawns of people's homes, and it's a mess. All right, so you'll have time to, if you have coasters, you'll have time to gather your coasters I'm even thinking about putting some in my Etsy shop if you can't get your hands on coasters. I'll make some available. So you could make one of these books. And I'm just checking to make sure that these haven't moved because I am using quite a bit of glue. All right, we're going to put the back cover on, and then I'll turn around and put the front cover on. And then before I put on the binding, I'm going to let this set up. I'm going to put the binding on once this dries. And there's really nothing to putting the binding on. You're just going to be gluing it. But I want to make sure that these are dried really well. Before I get that binding on the side here. So I'm going to give these a couple days to dry, and then I'll continue on. And then we can do some collaging inside. All right, so I'm gently going to, and I'm only pressing this down. I'm not going to be doing this with, I don't want these papers to be moving all around because I do have quite a bit of glue. So this is so far, and this is how it has a nice line down the center. It's nice and sturdy. And that's the front and back so far. So maybe I will, maybe as long as I'm here, I will get this on, and they're just going to have to wait. So I'm just going to trim this back. Probably my husband trying to call me from work. And he can't get a hold of me, obviously. And I'll do the back here, just to get rid of some of that white. So if there is a little tiny bit of overhang, you don't see it. And then I will put this on here, and then I will wrap it. Now remember, you're only going to do one side. And I think I'm going to wait, and I'm going to do this after it dries because I don't want to push anything out. I want this to be really dry because I'm going to have to manipulate this and work with it a little bit better than what I'm doing here. So, all right, so I'm going to sign off for now. If you can get your hands on some coasters, you can start at least this far. And one last time, you'll need 7 drinking coasters that measure 4 by 4, your scrapbook paper measuring 12 by 12, ribbon or sari silk, get a Tyvek envelope. It can even be, a smaller one, but I'm sure you have a Tyvek envelope hanging around your house. You'll need your glue stick, double-sided tape, or liquid glue of your choice. And then when you cut your front and back covers, you're going to need 2 pieces for the front and back that are 4 by 4 inches. And then your inside papers that you see here, you'll need 6 pieces. They're going to be 8 inches long by 4 inches wide. All right. And then your binding, which is this here, it's going to be 2 3/4 wide by 4 inches tall. And then, like you saw me, cut your Tyvek a little bit larger and then just trim around it. And then when I see you again, my friends, we will continue on and we'll start to collage the inside a little bit. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.